We'll get going in just 1 minute here. 1 minute. Good morning, everyone. So it is a pleasure for me to take the chair here, thanks to my colleagues who have privileged me with this opportunity to chair the committee for this term of council. IT is baked into everything that the city does, and it's important to me that we provide the very best oversight of it as possible. This term of council, certainly I want to make sure that the lights are being kept on. We have a lot of legacy software and applications that need to be updated. Modernization of our infrastructure that I know is being looked at. Open data is a key priority for me, and I've shared that with staff and others. The IT committee's role in building a smart city is important to me. Security. So we've been talking with staff about focusing on some of these areas and doing a deep dive through the 3 or 4 meetings that we will do of this committee each year. And we've got a great team of councillors who are on board here, a wonderful IT staff, so we can dive right in. I do want to make a quick note that this morning the committee is testing a new committee software, the PrimeGov. It's hopefully going to give those who are following along at home an opportunity to better track the meeting. I think it's going to be more intuitive for staff to use as well, so let's hope the test goes well. We do have a light agenda today, so not too many opportunities for the software to go wrong, if anything is. So we'll jump right in. First item is the confirmation of minutes. Is that confirmed? Carried? Are there any declarations of interest? No? None, no conflicts. So we'll jump right into the first and only agenda item today, which is the Information Technology Services 2019 Work Plan Update. And we'll ask Sandro and folks to give us a presentation.
Thank you, Chair. I am Sandro Carlucci, the acting CIO, and at this time, I would like to introduce my fellow colleagues. To my right, I have Asha Gajiria. She's the Program Manager of Service Delivery. And to her right is Matt Grenier, the Manager of Technology Modernization. And to my left, I have Chris Fulton, Manager of Technology Security. Today's presentation to the IT Subcommittee is to provide an update on the investments we're making in technology and in our people. This update will provide an overall status update on the many exciting projects and initiatives that are either coming up or have been completed in 2019. Our strategic work plan is to ensure we are clear about the role in the organization and to identify what our priorities are so that we're in the best possible position to facilitate in the delivery of services to both our internal and external clients. The strategic work plan is ingrained in our day-to-day operations. Our work plan includes such items as completing key client priorities and projects, cybersecurity, which is a challenge facing every large organization, day-to-day operations, upgrading our infrastructure, ensuring life cycling of our solutions, and completing all the work recently recommended by the Auditor General. Our management believes for IT to be successful, we need all of our IT staff to have a sense of ownership in this plan, clearly understanding the plan, and see how their work connects to our approach. As such, we took a very highly consultative approach to the development of our plan. We wanted to foster a sense of ownership to ensure the plan's success. Staff through all levels of ITS were involved in our strategic planning sessions. As such, we took an open and apparent approach. We had multiple touch points with staff. We had opportunities for staff to provide in very different forms to engage. We shared access to the materials that we had. The plan, I'm proud to say, was internally driven and internally built. And in that, we challenged our staff to how can we do things better? How can we do security better in everything that we do? How can we develop better solutions for our clients? How can we do better communication among ourselves as well as our clients? How can we better do change management? And these were really key for us to be successful. The strategic work plan establishes a framework for how ITS will plan and how we work. We developed 4 strategic objectives to move the service towards its mandate of being a valued partner with the department clients in the delivery of municipal services. We want our tools to be connective and collaborative. We want our operations to be efficient and flexible. We want our solutions to be reliable and sustainable. We want our technology tools to be modern and innovative. The achievement of these objectives will be monitored using a framework that we call the objectives and key results. Through this highly transparent and collaborative framework, staff throughout ITS are engaged in contributing, monitoring, and adjusting the details of the plan as the organization moves towards some of the long-term objectives. The strategic objective for ITS has been to develop in alignment with the overall City of Ottawa strategic plan. ITS will continue involving in how we engage with the city, continuously improving how we conduct our business, and deliver on the trust given to us by our clients. Our work plan is the framework that ITS will use to be a valuable technology partner for our clients. Today's presentation will highlight in detail 4 key priorities that are included in the ITS work plan for 2019. Our updates are going to include cybersecurity, which is a top priority not only for myself, but for our management team, as well as a challenge that is facing every large organization. But we've completed significant work, which we will present to the IT subcommittee today. Cloud infrastructure. We want to highlight our work to create a new cloud centered hosted by Microsoft Azure. Software rationalization and modernization. We have prioritized an assessment of critical applications with the capabilities of our software platforms to identify opportunities for solution replacements. And finally, we're really very proud to present our ITS staff skills modernization. We can invest in platforms, we can update our process, but having the people to do it, we find is the biggest success for IT as we move forward. And we don't just look at it as training our staff, but investing in our staff. At this time, I'd like to ask my colleague, Chris Fulton, to present our cybersecurity update. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandro, and thank you, Chair. As Sandro mentioned, security is a top priority for IT in our organization, and I'm seeing that support from all of my IT management colleagues as well as Sandro. ITS is committed to creating and maintaining a best-in-class technology security environment for the corporation to ensure all city assets are protected properly. ITS has completed significant work in the following areas related to cybersecurity. Annual risk validation and exemption processes, standards, and policies have been created and in place. We've rolled out a corporate-wide mandatory cybersecurity awareness training program, and to date we have approximately 3,500 staff that have taken this training with the goal of having everybody completed by the end of July. We'll be doing compliance reporting to ensure that that target is met. We've consulted with technology partners recently on standards and vulnerability testing plans, and I'm happy to say we have a solid action plan for making that work happen. We have upgraded the city's main firewalls to create capacity and allow for future growth, considering the dependency that we're now going to have on the cloud infrastructure. We've implemented security controls and deployed remote access multi-factor authentication capability to ensure that the right people are accessing our network. We've completed numerous threat and risk assessments to ensure the projects and the initiatives that we're doing right now are being implemented in a secure manner. We've responded to priority incidents according to our computer incident response plan and conducted many important investigations for the authorities of the organization. And currently, we're focused on installing a privileged access management system to better manage elevated access and permissions to our systems so that we can maintain them properly, make sure they're running for our lines of business. Phase 2 is to run a pilot to make sure that we're not going to be impacting any areas as we roll this important system out. All this work mentioned is work that's part of fully completing the deliverables for the 4 IT audit response projects that we have going on right now: IT governance, incident handling, risk management, and remote access. To provide focus on delivering all of these things by the end of the year, we have established a dedicated audit portfolio with a dedicated portfolio coordinator. We've dedicated subject matter experts. We've committed to weekly status dashboard reports and verifications regularly with the Auditor Office of the Auditor General to ensure we're hitting the mark. You can expect regular status updates from us, and as we work through that important audit work to the remainder of the year. At this point in time, I'll turn it over to my colleague Matt Grenier to talk about the cloud.
Thank you, Chair and Subcommittee. First, I'll just start off with a cloud update and establish a definition for the purpose of the presentation. So the cloud is on-demand availability of computer system resources, especially data, storage, and computing power. It's typically a data center in the cloud accessed by multiple users. Okay, so I'll talk about 3 things today about cloud. We have benefits and approach that we're taking, considerations for cloud workloads and moving things in there, and activities and accomplishments to date as an update. So our approach to cloud is essentially a cloud smart strategy instead of cloud first, if you've probably heard of. We're looking at what risks and impacts for workloads that we have on premise and looking at which ones can work in the cloud. So some of the benefits of the cloud I'll talk about are flexibility and scalability of solutions, enabling agile developments. We can quickly address business needs. The low cost of disaster recovery, if we have cold storage and that type of thing. And then platform as a service, so taking advantage of vendor-developed solutions that we can, put in our cloud and adopt those technologies on premise. I'll talk about some of the considerations that we look at for our cloud smart strategy. We have support requirements and service level agreements. We have to look out for things like vendor lock-in. There's availability requirements for certain solutions, and obviously security considerations around information and access. And specific to that, there's data residency, which, and I'll make a note that our Azure data center that we're building right now is actually in Canada. There's also cost and the criticality of the systems and how we sort of transition support from our current internal resources to a cloud environment that we have to consider. Some of the cloud accomplishments and activities that are underway or completed. We have established core connectivity to the cloud. So that's the connectivity and routing of all of the traffic back and forth between the cloud. We're establishing our firewalls. And you mentioned infrastructure upgrades. We're upgrading our internet pipe to support additional load anticipated from the cloud, and also which we've seen from our Office 365 implementation, which has been a great benefit. On top of that, we're upgrading the skill set within IT, so architecturally and with support staff to support the cloud. And the last piece is as we move forward and learn more about the cloud, we're establishing the governance and practices within IT to be able to deliver projects in that environment. And thanks. I'll hand it back to Mr. Carlucci for software modernization.
Thank you, Chair. ITS supports more than 200 enterprise and business-specific applications, and we are accountable for all the software lifecycle decisions to ensure that the technology investments are risk-conscious, value-driven, financially responsible, and meet the needs of the city departments. With a variety of application types, we have in-house solutions that we built, third-party solutions, we have solutions that are on-premise, others that are hosted. The application environment is becoming complex and requires increasing resources to manage and maintain this environment. As part of our platform review and process improvement and our investment in people, the ITS Software Rationalization Program is key to allow us to meet the strategy of identifying legacy systems that are reaching end of life. Some of the benefits of having an ITS software rationalization and platform alignment approach is overall reduction in the city's technology footprint. It will be less complex technology environment, faster delivery of software solutions, ensuring the use of modern technical systems and languages, and improving standard maintenance processes and activities. So when we're looking at our strategy for the software applications, there are really three types of applications. We have platform applications. Those are applications that have many solutions that can go to many different clients. We have enterprise solutions. That really is one solid solution that can be used by many different departments. And we also have business applications that's really designed for one client, for one stream of business. In 2019, ITS prioritized an assessment of critical applications with the capability of our software platforms to identify opportunities for solution replacements. One example was with Ariba. This is where we used a platform. It's an enterprise. It's SAP that we use for many different types of solutions for many different types of clients. And working with our supply colleagues, the Procure-to-Pay project will be implementing the SAP Ariba solution. This transformational initiative will allow the city to further automate transactional activities, such as invoice approvals. It's also expected to improve contractual obligations and increase efficiency from requisition to pay. And it allows us to retire a legacy system called MarkView. One of the enterprise solutions that we have, that we've introduced, is the Intelligent Communications Exchange, ICE. Our connectivity project team, which included staff from across multiple service areas, as well as IT staff, completed the successful implementation of Computer Talk ICE to replace the old Cisco solution. So this is an example of one solution for many departments. And those departments include our 311 contact center, revenue services, community and social services, IT service desk, Ottawa Public Health, Ottawa Public Library, as well as OC Transpo. And finally, an example of a business application. The city's previous water billing and sewer billing customer information system, called Aquasys, which had been in production for over 20 years, had reached its end of life from both a technical and a functional perspective. It couldn't support multiple different rates that we wanted for our water billing. Through a competitive process, a successful proponent was chosen, and the new billing system was rebranded as H2O Ottawa, and it went live in February 2019, led by our revenue colleagues. And again, this is an example of introducing a world-class solution for our key applications, such as our water system. I would now like to ask Matt Grenier to provide our update on the investment we're making in our ITS staff.
Thank you, Chair and Subcommittee. So skilling up our people has been a big focus in support of this platform rationale and also with adopting new technologies within the organization. We took a three-pronged approach to supporting our staff on these new modern technologies, and that was certifications, mentorship program, and technical intact training. So for certifications, we focus on a lot of the core platforms, so Office 365, Dynamics, various cloud platforms, project management, business analysis skills, and then security across the board. So we've established certifications, and we're having staff, sign up and learn those different technologies so that we can be confident in our environment and its security. The mentorship program is connecting employees across ITS, so we have shadow opportunities, we have opportunities for staff to learn from mentors, and they sign up as mentees, and we establish those across certain areas that are very critical. Technical architects, project managers, security architects, various leadership roles, and as well as business analysis. So they're learning from their peers, and they're being assigned stretch assignments and developing their skill sets. For technical intact training, we specialize training sessions on a specific number of technology platforms, and when we do these large intact sessions, it's an opportunity to save cost and have a larger sort of a number of people participate. And then we also have agile training within IT for various groups, so we can sort of enable that DevOps and agile culture. The approach was designed with two objectives in mind: to enable IT teams to deliver business value, meet business demand, and solve business problems. And the second is to reduce our reliance on external professional services after things become operational, engage our people through new technologies and opportunities, and ensuring we have a viable succession plan for the various technology and security areas. And thank you. I'll hand it back to Mr. Carlucci.
Thank you, Chair. So our final slide, next steps. So this is a summary of our work plan, and it highlights some of the platforms that we're looking at, both from a corporate rollout perspective as well as replacements. It looks at some of the new base platforms that we're introducing at the city. It talks about a lot of our procedures that we're streamlining and improving. It summarizes the work that we're doing to invest in our people. And it talks about other notable items that we're supporting our colleagues, such as open data and smart city with our colleagues from Service Innovation and Performance Department. So it's a summary of all the work that we're doing. And I would just like to let IT subcommittee know that the city has a terrific staff in IT that is very skilled, very dedicated, and very engaged. And it was a huge amount of work that we took in early 2019. We're on pace, we're doing well, the staff is updating the plan, we work well together. The management team and we review the budget or the plan on a bi-weekly plan. We look at our budgets. I try to tell them to look at it every week, but every 2 weeks if they look at it, that's great. I'm an accountant, so I like the budget part. And so with all the work that we've taken, we've been able to be very well structured to be successful. We've had a lot of good successes so far to date. We're hoping to have even more into 2019. We've had our challenges, but we think those are just going to make us stronger as we proceed into 2019. And one of the great challenges that you have from an IT group is a group that knows change. We know that our plans will change, and we have the ability to accept those changes and continue to deliver great service for our clients, both internally and externally. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carlucci. That is obviously a lot to digest, a very active work plan. Questions? I know Councillor Derouz has questions, and Councillor Sudds. Yep. Councillor Derouz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for the presentation. I know that we're moving forward to a different level of technology, but I have a quick question on an open Wi-Fi. I know we're adopting all these new technology, and the problem with it doesn't matter how secure you are, there is concern always how you log in through your Wi-Fi, because that's how basically you get hacked into your computer, especially in public places like I'm not talking like city places like McDonald's or Starbucks or somewhere when you're traveling. Are we going to be able to have some more security or add some more layers so when we're city staff or everybody's traveling, be able to block those fake login, fake Wi-Fi that you, because sometimes they sit on a parking lot and they have McDonald's guest, but I mean, it could be spelled different, or I'm sure that you know all about it, but are we going to be able to block or limit those access to our devices? Or there is some plan on making sure that we add layer security of that?
Thanks, Chair. What we have is those, we're doing 2 pilots right now to replace the public Wi-Fi that's out there by a third-party company. And those 2 pilots have been very successful. We have those particular environments segregated by a number of different pieces of technology, as well as they're maintained by guest accounts only, and those guest accounts can only access that particular environment. We've had some queries recently about the signage, making sure people are aware of what actually the login is for those public Wi-Fis, to make sure that's clearly visible so that people know that they're actually engaging with city-offered public Wi-Fi.
And Chris, do you have a time frame on implementing those security measures?
Those standards will be implemented with all the rollout that we're doing for the 26 sites. So as Chris referred to, we've done the pilots. So we now have our steps and our procedures that are in place, and all of those safeguards will be in all of the 26 sites that we're rolling out, and we're planning to have them completed by the end of the year.
Thank you. I have one more question concerning the legacy software that we've been talking about in the last 5 years. Do we have, I know we're implementing a new software. Congratulations on the water bill, new software, and I know that I'm really enjoying our new agenda and our new software that we're using today, PrimeGov. But do we have an amount of how many legacy software we're making sure we're not forgetting in the back, and we're still paying licensing on those? And while we're moving forward, we're getting rid of all the legacy software that we have. Do we have an idea how many we still have left, or we're dealing, or we're working on? Do we have a list of them?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we do have a list of those items, and we're looking at both from which ones are coming more due towards the end of life with regards to support from some of the vendors. We're looking with regards to the engagement of the respective departments, because it can't just be done by IT alone. We're looking at a little bit from a funding perspective, if there is funding to replace some of these items. So there's a whole number of factors that we put into place when we're looking at the replacements. So we do put the focus on some of the higher priority applications to get those replaced, such as water billing, very high profile. And we do have the process and the flexibility to readjust our plan during the year. So we have our plan that we have in place that we want to replace for 2019, and we'll be looking at what we want to do over the next couple of years.
Are we looking outside? I know that we have multiple departments in our city, and some other department, they might be still using some old software, or they're not using them anymore. I know that it's a big task to take, but are we kind of looking, making sure that when we're implementing our cloud services and we're all integrating all our system together, we're not missing any softwares or any somewhere outside? You don't, like, you're not sure where it is, or you're outside of your scope of work?
Thank you, Chair. We are working with our technology partners to help them identify their applications as well. And the list of applications that we look at reflects all of the client departments that we do support.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can we probably share with the committee the progress of that work, give us update as we go, if that's possible? Maybe, Chair, if you're okay with direction to staff, I don't need a motion. It's just if they keep updating this committee every 6 months or every in the next update on those legacy software, that would be nice for us in this committee to know what's going on and how fast we're progressing with that.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we can get that information for you. I believe we have a meeting scheduled in September and in November, and we can provide that information, and we can also provide it a little bit earlier if you require it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Councillor. And if you could maybe do the clerk a favor, just write out that direction, and staff have taken that. Councillor Suds.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much, first of all, for the presentation. And, I can feel the pride and the excitement in the work that you're doing, and I certainly appreciate that. So kudos to all of you and your teams. A few general questions maybe first. So one around the strategic work plan itself. I think it's referred to in the report as a 3-year evolving document. So what does the renewal of this strategy look like as far as timelines and process?
Thank you, Chair. With regards to our strategic work plan, we actually started in 2017 and created a 3-year, which ends at the end of this year. And so in September, we are going to be looking at getting a new 3-year strategic plan, 2020 to 2022, to be in line with the next term of council.
Okay, terrific. And I assume through that process, again, it'll be a consultative process with departments ensuring buy-in and input along the way?
Thank you, Chair. That's right. We are working with our client departments right now to develop technology roadmaps, so those will influence what our work plan looks like over the next 3 years.
Terrific. When I read through the report and obviously looking through the presentation, one observation that I'll make, some feedback back to you, it feels to me as we're going through this that IT is very much positioned as a cost center, as a service function to the other departments. And there's nothing wrong with that. But my inclination would be that the work that you're doing is so critical to the success of our city, of our operations. And just a general comment, you know, when I look at how you've positioned yourself and feeding back into the mission of the city and your mission, I'd love to see some aspiration to lead in that. I know the aspirations are there, but I don't think it's transpiring into your vision and your mandate. So just a very, you know, I think that language matters. I think words matter. And I think that as we as a city strive internally with this culture shift of embracing digital and embracing IT really as a value driver, I think those words matter. So that's just some general feedback for you. Moving on to your cybersecurity, your highlights. So you've kind of run through 4 highlights in the work plan and greatly appreciated the insights you shared. I guess my question is, what's not there? You've shared the highlights, but is there something, are the lowlights something we should be discussing today as well?
Thank you, Chair. Some of those items are sensitive and perhaps not, you know, to discuss in this particular forum, but I'm really happy to meet with you at a later point in time and discuss a lot of those particular items with you.
Fair. And respecting, of course, security is always sensitive, and so fine to take that offline. And actually, Mr. Fulton, a comment that you made during your piece on cybersecurity was that you're seeing support from your colleagues and from Sandra, which is wonderful to hear. I guess my question is, are you seeing the support that you think is warranted and needed throughout the corporation for the work that you're doing?
Yes, I believe I am. I think it's a climate right now that's happening everywhere in the world. People are more aware of cybersecurity. It's in the news. People have been affected by it. So yes, I am seeing a lot more cooperation on behalf of everybody in the organization, and that's making our job a lot easier.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. On the ITS software rationalization program, you kind of highlighted a few of the projects underway, which is terrific. There's a lot happening. I think you mentioned there's 400 different platforms and services underway. Is there, and I assume there is, so the question is around metrics. How are you measuring success in that transformation, and do we have visibility to what's happening in that realm?
Yes, we do have metrics with regards to the amount of ones that we're either replacing, either decommissioning, and if you'd like, we can provide that information to your office or to the chair. We can provide a little bit of a status of our work plan, as well as what we're looking to do in 2020. Terrific.
Thank you. Another from the report here in software rationalization, again, there's a note that you've prioritized an assessment of critical applications, rightfully so, with the capability of our software platforms to identify the software replacements. My question is, what spurred that? Did this come out of the Auditor General's work, or is this just part of your day-to-day risk assessment and work prioritization?
Thank you, Chair. The big driver for us was to create capacity. A part of it was with all the applications that we had, we felt that our staff was spending a lot of time just maintaining systems rather than trying to improve systems. A little bit to your part about trying to aspire, try to lead. This is one aspect where we feel that if we can have a better handle on all of our platforms, and then that ties in a lot with our pillars, where we will have modern solutions. They're going to be reliable. They're going to be secure solutions that we have in place. So that was really the driver and a little bit of the change culture within our own organization. And we felt that by updating all the platforms, it really ties into updating our processes, getting more up to speed with streamlining a lot of our processes, both from how we communicate outside of IT as well as how we communicate within our group. And then the final part is, as we move towards more platforms that have that roadmap, that have that strategic roadmap, we get our staff that are engaged, that get very excited. This is the work that they want to do. They don't want to do old languages that are out of service. And that was also the other aspect, was when people would retire, that individual that supported a particular application, it was very difficult to get another staff to learn an application that's been out of service for 10 years, and we'd have to spend money on professional services, and we felt that was not a very good use of ITS budget.
Fantastic. Quick question, and I believe it was yourself, Mr. Grenier, who commented on our hosting with Microsoft Azure here in Canada. My question being, are we making sure that the data is staying within Canada?
Thank you, Chair and Subcommittee. So the data is stored in the Canadian data center, and the traffic is routed within Canada.
Okay,
Yep.
terrific. I know that's always a touchy topic and not always clear as mud, so thank you for that.
Thanks.
I think that might have been all on my side. Yes, thank you. Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sudds. For my own part, I've just got one question, something raised by Mr. Grenier in his portion of the presentation about vendor lock-in and the need to avoid vendor lock-in. As we move more of our solutions into the cloud, as we upgrade some and replace some of our applications, how do we ensure that the data is, in the event of bankruptcies, emergencies, et cetera, always available back to us? How are we going to ensure that we don't get locked into something where we lose data and we lose applications moving forward?
Thank you, Chair and Subcommittee. So that's a good question. The idea is that we have redundancy of the data, so we're having it backed up and copied in different locations, and we can also have opportunities to have cold storage for archival. We can pull back and do that disaster recovery piece if required. And then when we actually onboard or we look at that cloud smart strategy to say what kind of workloads or systems of record should be in the cloud, we consider all of that sort of exit strategy and those types of things in that plan.
And we're working with our vendors to ensure that we have full permission to keep our own local archives of data so that we're never at risk of losing it.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you very much for a great presentation. I encourage councillors to continue to chat with Sandro and his team throughout the year, not just at committee meetings. And with that, I will ask whether the report is received. And bear with me. Are there any... The new software has popped something up in front of me. Are there any notices of motion for consideration at a subsequent meeting? Sorry, have we got a paper copy of the agenda? There's a window in front of me and I can't see the rest of the agenda. I'm assuming the next one is, are there any inquiries? And with that, motion to adjourn? Carried. Thank you very much.